HOLLOWBODY finds you in a long abandoned British city looking for a friend, all the while trying to fight for your life and survive in the horrors that await you. But is this classic survival horror game stuck in time? Let's find out.
You're safe now, little sparrow. Mother will keep you warm.
Hey everybody, my name is Warwick and welcome to Warwick Reviews. I hope you're doing well. Really appreciate you being here. Before we start, as I always say, please, if you can, give us a subscription, give us a like, give us a comment. It all really helps me. And I'm trying to grow the channel and I've got a lot of cool things here. So I'm sure you'll be able to find something here that you will like. But today we are checking out a cool little horror game called HOLLOWBODY. It's come out this week and it's been longly anticipated. As a recorder, I think just had a shy of 100,000 wish lists on Steam, and it brings classic horror into the new world, developed by one person. And so we're going to be checking out this game, what it's all about, and if it is worth your time. And let's begin. What HOLLOWBODY is, basically, it is a horror game, sort of in the style of the classics like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, and it finds you in a near future monster urban decay of a long abandoned British city. It is a dystopian love letter to survival horror. Its grimly detailed environments exude a oppressive, glowing atmosphere, while its tight, tense gameplay effortlessly evokes classics of the genre. Mysterious and disturbing tech noir narrative complements the experience amongst the game's playtime. So you find yourself playing a character called Mika, which is an unlicensed black market shipper who will stop at nothing to find her missing partner. After her hover crashes deep within the exclusion zone, she is left alone and stranded with limited resources at her disposal. She will have to push her way through the zone, solve environmental puzzles, manage resources, and fight her way and for her life as she tries to find a way to escape beyond the wall. So that's basically the premise of the game. It does start at the very beginning, like sort of like a prelogue or prologue of different events that's happening that seems to be tied into the narrative of the story. But when you get into the proper game, you do find yourself with Mika. You're in like this post-apocalyptic sort of neo, sort of Blade Runner-esque world. You've got hovercrafts, dystopian. It does very much feel like UK. It seems to be raining all the time. And as I said in the description, you do crash and you're just trying to find a way to contact, get some help. And this is where the game begins. So straight away, you will notice if you've played horror games like Silent Hill or classic Resident Evils, you will really fall into place here straight away. So it has that very much feel of classic PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 era horror games, and it has that feel where it's sort of like the camera's hovering over you. It has a mixture of fixed camera angles as well as roaming camera angles. So similar to like if you think about like Resident Evil Code Veronica, where it did follow you at certain points and it has some fixed camera angles. So very much product of the classic horrors. And so obviously you begin, it's about limited resources, managing your time, your health, and surviving and doing what you can and basically exploring everything. And so the first thing that hit me was the presentation is wonderful. This is created by a single developer over 3 years, so they've done an incredible job. They've really brought to life this dystopian world where it feels run down, it feels bleak, it feels like the futures that have been promised in like Blade Runner-esque, you know, just feel like that where there's no hope and stuff and just trying to survive. That really comes across really well. And then you go through the game, you're exploring, and for me, obviously from the UK, it's nice to see like wheelie bins and certain little bits. I'm like, oh yeah, that's in the UK, so that's quite nice to see. But the game doesn't really properly start until you get inside the building, find a way to get through, and this is where the game proper begins. We start exploring, start experiencing sort of horrors around you, and I don't want to spoil any part of the game really, except for this is probably like the first hour or so. It is a 3 to 4 hour playtime, so I don't want to spend too much talking about it because I just don't want people having the experience ruined for them. So this isn't going to be any sort of spoilers. It's just like the first bit of the game, but I will say it's great. I had a really, really good time. Honestly, I'm a massive fan of like the classic horrors like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. I grew up Resident Evil 1 on the Sega Saturn, and I'm so thankful that franchise is still going to this day. And it's so great to see games in the year 2024 being developed by passionate people who want to create that sort of game again and bring something to life. And I think HOLLOWBODY does that. You know, it's really cool. I will say with the game, if you are not used to sort of classic horrors, you may have a bit of a difficult time with it because there's not a lot of hand holding. There are options. So you got either casual or intended. So casual is a bit more easier, sort of like enemies aren't as tanky. There's more resources, so it's a bit of easier time with it. But there is intended as they will intend it. But there isn't a lot of hand holding, so you do have to sort of search everywhere. It's not a case where it'll be like, oh, maybe you should check this route. It's literally like you sort of need to be aware that you have to search everything, check everything, try to combine everything, work out, look at every environmental aspect around you for any sort of clues and stuff. So some people may struggle with that. Again, if you are used to these types of games, I think you understand it fully. But if you are new to it, keep that in mind. Not to a fault, but that's how the older games were like. There wasn't as much hand holding. It was very much like, okay, this is the game. You just go do your thing and you just have to work it out. But again, great atmosphere. Really plays well. There are settings. The settings are very, very basic. You have your various audio. You have your screen settings. You also have button remapping. It does recommend a controller. You can play with keyboard. You can change keybinds and stuff. For me, there was no inverted options for controls, which was a shame. So I would like to see that. And also there wasn't much there outside of the very basic options. So I would like to see sort of maybe screen shake options or like flashing light options. But overall, it was all right. I did like the option of having tank controls, which was quite nice. Tank controls is a sort of bygone control option where it's literally you control your player like a tank. So when you want to turn, you sort of pivot on the ground and then you move forward. And if you're not used to it, it can seem very overwhelming. Like how does anyone play this game? But overall, I think it's a really good game. I think it's something that people should check out. Again, it is made by one developer, indie game. It's great to support these types of games. There's a really good atmosphere here. There's really good identity to it. And you can tell the person who worked on it really loves horror games. And it is like feels like a love letter to the classics like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. If you think it's worth your time, please check it out. Even if you don't, give it a go. It's a 3 to 4 hour experience. Your first playthrough. There are options in New Game Plus. They have a first person option as well. So you get options and incentive to play the game over and over. I feel like you could get a lot out of that. And yeah, just had a really good time. But thank you so much for listening and watching, or wherever you were doing. Thank you very, very much. If you're watching and listening, thank you. You get us good old stuff from me. Just make sure you let me know in the comments below. But again, my name is Warwick. I mainly stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Warwick. Obviously, I do reviews here. And you find me on socials as Warwick is online. But thank you so much. Please take care, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.